All right, so 8-6, last day on factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. So vocab, quick review. We're dealing with factor, factored, and factoring. The monomials, remember mono is 1, 12x, 3x squared, and 6x cubed have a common what of 3x? Factor. Correct. So when blank a trinomial, begin by looking for a common to all three terms. When factoring, right? When we are factoring, we look for the factor that is common to all three. A student blank the expression 12x cubed minus 6x squared into 6x squared, parentheses 2x plus 1. It already happened. Factored. All right. Vocab is rewrite. When you rewrite something, it just means to write it in another form, to change it up a little bit, right? So in English, when you rewrite something, you fix it, you make some corrections. So let's use this vocabulary. You can rewrite the expression 23x plus 14 plus 3x squared in order to factor it. Remember, we don't like it in this order. So cross out the rewritten expression that is not equivalent to that. So we have a 3x squared, a 23x, and a 14. This is the way we like it, by the way. This is our favorite form, easiest to factor. 14, 23x can be broken down. We can add them. So this one works. This is the second way that it starts like this. Then we would rewrite it like this. Then we would cut it in half, right? 3x squared. This would be 22, not 23. So that one does not work. All right, circle the words that are similar to the meaning rewrite. So revise is to rewrite. To restate is to rewrite. To compose, no, because that means to write it for the first time, not to change it up a little. But change, yes, works because, right, we're going to alter it just a little bit. Draw a line from each trinomial in column A to its equivalent, just rewritten in column B. So we have a squared 2ab plus b squared. So its equivalent would be ab, right? This is like the second form. So now we have ab plus 4ab plus b squared. 4ab right here. Again, all they did was change up the order, which means b squared, a squared, 6ab, a squared plus 6ab plus b squared. They just switched those two, but they mean the same thing, right? That was rewritten. All right, so problem number 1. Says, complete the diagram below. So what is the factored form of 6x squared plus 13x plus 3? So remember that we multiply a times c, right? So we're going to say 6 times 5 equals 30, right? So what are the factors of 30 that equal 13? So here's where we would make our diamond. They have to multiply to 30 and add to a positive 13. What factors could do that? 1 and 30 would be 31. So that's not going to work. 2 and 15 would equal 30, but they would add to 17. 3 and 10 equal 30 and add to 13. Because everything's plus, I know my factors were plus, right? Three and 10? Yes? Okay. Why is the pair negative 3 and 10 not one of the pairs in this exercise? because negative 3 plus 10 equals what? Right, it equals 7. Plain and simple. Okay, so use the answer we got up here, 3 and 10, to rewrite. Remember, we eliminate the middle term and put in our two factors. So you should have put in 3x and 10x. So now we have 6x squared plus 3x. We have 10x plus 5, right? So now I have to cut it in half. What is my greatest common factor of 6x squared and 3x? 3x, correct. So that leaves 2x plus 1, right? So if this is 2x plus 1, that must be 2x plus 1. So I take these two and I put them down here. And then remember, one of those just gets brought down. The expression inside the parentheses must be equal. Remember, whatever this is, this must be. Use the distributive property to factor out the GCF. That's how we got what was inside the parentheses. So now it says, circle the factored form of 6x squared plus 13x plus 5. We just said it's 3x plus 5, 2x plus 1. So this says, what if I switched it around? Up here, I wrote 6x squared plus 3x plus 10x. What if I wrote it 6x squared plus 10x plus 3x? Would I get the same answer? If I cut this in half, my greatest common factor would now be 2x, and I would get 3x plus 5, which would make this 3x plus 5, and this would be 1. So then I would get 2x plus 1, 3x plus 5. Do I get the same answer? Is this the same answer as this? So you're going to get the same answer no matter what order you write these two in. Okay? That's what that is showing us. You're going to get the same thing no matter which way you write it. It's going to be the same. Can't go wrong there. All right. So what if the first number in front is negative? See, we have a negative. So when we multiply, I'm getting ahead of myself. What is the correct word to complete each sentence? The product, when I multiply A times C, am I going to get a negative or a positive answer? Negative, because this is negative, right? So I'm going to get a negative answer. So the sum of the two factors, when we add them, is it going to be negative or positive? Positive, because the middle is positive, right? So this is saying, like, when I make my x, this is going to be a negative 140, right? But this has to equal a positive 31. That's all that just went over. So the factor of AC that is smaller is going to be positive or negative. Right, the smaller factor is going to be negative. That's all that's saying. So write the factor pairs of AC equals 140, then circle the pair that has a sum of 31. All right, so we have 1 and negative 140. We have negative 4 and 35. We have 5 and negative 28. We have a positive 1, a negative 1, and a positive 140. We have a positive 14, negative 10, negative 5, positive 28, 2, negative 70. So then we have a negative 2 and a positive 70. 4 and negative 35. Negative 14, positive 10. 20. Negative 7. Negative 20, positive 7. Mercy me, there's a lot of factors. All right, so which one works? Which one will add together and give me 31? How about negative 4 and a positive 35? Remember, the smallest value had to be negative. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to rewrite my equation. So I have 10x squared, right? So we have 10x squared. Instead of 31, we're going to say negative 4x plus 35x minus 14, right? We rewrote it, eliminating that middle. So then we're going to cut it in half. What is my greatest common factor of 10 and 4? Absolutely. We can take out a 2x, which leaves me 5x minus 2. If this is 5x minus 2, this has to be 5x minus 2. What times 5 gives me 35? 7. So now this, 2x plus 7, and then one of these gets brought down, right? 5x minus 2. So if I wanted to check my work, right, I'm going to write my equation, and then I can FOIL it. What is that? 5 times 2 is 10x squared. Outside would be minus 4x. Inside is plus 35x minus 14. I'm going to combine like terms. I get 10x squared plus 31x minus 14. Did I get the right answer? Totally worked. Yay us. We are smart people. We are. Just saying. All right, so if they give me a problem that says the area of a rectangle is 8x squared plus 22x plus 15, what are the possible dimensions? Remember, it's length times width is what we're working on. So one parenthesis can be the length and the other one can be the width. Don't overthink this. It is exactly the same. So what pairs multiply, right, to give us A times C, but add to equal 22. So here's where we would make our chart, right? So here's where we would then say, what is 8 times 15? 120. So we have to multiply to equal 120, add to be 22. So which factors are going to work? 10 and 12. 10 and 12 are what works. So we're going to rewrite it. 8x squared plus 10x plus 12x. Again, cut it in half. My GCF is going to be 2x. You're left with 4x plus 5, right? So this must be 4x plus 5. What times 4 gives me 12? That's a 3. These two go together, 2x plus 3, 4x plus 5. So then the dimensions of my rectangle are simply going to be 2x plus 3 and 4x plus 5. I think there's one of these on your assignment. So that's why I want to make sure and do it. So your assignment is out of your workbook.